the weird thing is, when you clean out your traps, this is just from one day. This is just overnight, really, yesterday afternoon. One day. When you clean out your traps, that one can go because that's a common hornet. So I'll let that one go, even though they're a pain in the ass. When you pick up the hornets, it's really weird. They all come out in like a string, because all their feet kind of stick together. So look at that. And I had bigger ones before. I mean, huge lengths. This is actually not a very full trap. I mean, the amount of hornets in here is kind of crazy. It's never ending. So a couple of things to talk about today. I'm up at this apiary that is inundated with hornets. It's like a beautiful little valley here, or big valley, but it's a small part of it, but it's right on this like slope, and the hives go all the way up there, and you've probably seen me here before. I'm not going to take off my hood because I'm only going to get pinged, but first of all, I've been emptying out all these hornet traps. I only filled them up yesterday, and they're already filling up again. This place is absolutely alive with them, but I'm getting comments from people, and I just want people to realize that, you know, we're not stupid. We've been trying everything we can, and people go to me, oh, why don't you move your hornets to another place where there's less hornets? I know everyone's trying to be helpful, but there is no other place. We've tried poisoning, we've tried everything we can, and the pressure is just massive on our colonies. Okay, so I don't want to be rude, but it is what it is, as we say all too often. But there's so many things happening at the moment on these colonies that I'm not happy about. Obviously, the mite levels are creeping up. I've been taken off my bee escapes today because I harvested this area yesterday, and that's why I've come back. And as I've come back, the traps are already full of hornets again. But I just want to say to everyone that, you know, don't take it the wrong way, but we are doing everything we can. We've been studying Asian hornets for years because we've had the threat of them getting bad. So we know all the tricks. We see what everyone else has been doing. And believe you me, if you ever get an infestation like this, you're going to just probably pack in your beekeeping, because it's just not worth it. So by the time you've got your colonies treated against Varroa, and maybe you can reduce the numbers enough, you might be able to get them to make winter bees. But from what I'm seeing here, they're not raising any winter bees yet. And this is getting very, very concerning. Some colonies are good, and as usual, we'll get a few. Yes, I've obviously taken off my honey far too late, and I'm not even finished yet. I've still got other apiaries to do. But other things as well, you know, I knew damn well that my colonies might be hungry, but most of them aren't. Most of them are absolutely full of food. But this was a late colony here, for example. I put it into a box late in the year, so it didn't have a lot in the bottom when it put most of it in the top. But I'll show you here. This colony is about to collapse because there is absolutely no food in it, and there's no brood. But there's a queen, or there's a little bit of queen laying I found on the next frame. So the queen is there, but the problem is the colony is so light and so nothing in it that I need to get syrup on this quickly. And as I said before, because I have experience of this happening, as soon as you pull your honey, I have syrup, I have a feeder, so I'll leave this tonight with a good feeder full, and they'll woof that down. So at least I'm kind of doing something, you know. But half the problem with this Asian hornet lark is you just go from apiary to apiary, and every apiary is the same, and you feel you're doing nothing. You feel that whatever you try and do, it's a lost cause. But I know it isn't, because I see these bees and they're alive. So I think you've got to just kind of take a back step and keep swatting the best you can, because swatting in front of the hive does two things. One, it does reduce the numbers initially around your colonies, and it also makes you feel a hell of a lot better, because there's nothing better than the sound of a hornet going into that racket, because it's just so frustrating. You know, we get to the point where you're kind of like, you just lost for your next motivation, because this is just shit everywhere you go. So I'm going to just get the protein on regardless. I'm going to feed in between protein where they need it, and just give that stimulus. One thing I kind of think that did help was the other apiaries. I didn't actually get to cage queens in this apiary because I run out of time and it was just so freaking hot. One of the things I have noticed is that when I caged my queens, what seems to have been the benefit of that, as well as controlling varroa, obviously, that when you cage the queens, obviously they stop laying totally. So it's almost like saying to the queens, we're not going to allow you to lay. But in most cases, they're stopping anyway because there was such a dearth and the pressure of hornets. But now we've released them, there seems to be quite a lot of the ones that we've released are actually laying really well, because maybe they feel they're so far behind, a bit like me, that they're finally catching up. But who knows? Ask me what the bees are like in March. Obviously, you'll see if we get through the winter. But it's just very, very depressing, you know. All I want to do is keep bees, and you know, if you're a beekeeper, basically you're screwed, and that's what it feels like. There's no assistance, there's no help, no one's come up with any plans. Science is the only thing that is going to sort this out, but boy, have they got some sciencing to do, I tell you. But anyway, enough of me moaning. I'm really a bit pissed off about the whole thing right now. But there you go. You just got to get on with it. And yes, there is still a little bit of time to get the colonies back up to speed, because we often have a really good October here with plenty of ivy and fairly warm temperatures. And we know it's not usually until second week of November that we do finally get the end of it all, where it goes sort of cold, about 11 to 12 degrees. And then it goes colder further than that in December, January. But we usually get foraging weather quite good. I mean, who knows? It could be, even as it's been so hot this year and so mild, it could go on for even longer. So we might be all right. But at the moment, it really ain't looking good.